Good evening and welcome to Newshour. I am Daphne Kenema. Coming up in this edition of the news, residents of Tombow community call on government to construct a landing jetty for them. Confusion at the Queen Elizabeth II Quay following the appointment of the new operations manager. One-time Vice Chancellor and of the University of Sierra Leone, Professor Kusunike Kusu Thomas, releases his latest books. And the Ahmadiyya mission begins a one-week training for VTR editors at SLBC and other television stations. All the stories and more lined up in this edition of News Hour with me, Daphne Kenema. Manso Koroma is the new operations manager at the Sierra Leone Port Authority. His appointment creates an impasse among officials and other workers at the Queen Elizabeth II Quay. However, Fode Koroma told SLBC that his administration will work in the interest of the country. Rose Kenema Stevens reports.
Queen Elizabeth Quay. There was an impasse here very shortly. What erupted amongst officials of the water quay. For now, the management refused to talk to the media. Let me take this. Operations manager at the Sierra Leone Ports Authority, Fode Manso Koroma, informed this medium that his appointment as director of operations at the quay is to oversee the general operations of the authority, noting that the alleged impasse is not to his knowledge.
As you can see, this is my first day in office, and up to now, I can't access my office. I don't know why.
Mr. Koroma further stated that his predecessor is in possession of his office keys and planning to formally hand over. Media officer at the Ports Authority, Abdul Kabir, however, denied allegation of impasse erupting among officials earlier, and therefore refused talking to the media on camera, but informed SLBC that the management could not comment on the matter. SLBC News, Rose Kenema Stevens.
Residents of Tombow community in the Western Area Rural District have called on government for the construction of their landing jetty. They also made an appeal for the removal of the Chinese ship Tigato at the wharf, which they say is disturbing their activities. They made the appeal when SLBC visited the wharf. Mariam Asuma has more.
One of the major natural resources the country is endowed with that's still fully untapped to largely contribute to the economy. Reports say Sierra Leone, with a population of 7.5 million, could be self-sufficient with just the fisheries sector if more attention is paid to develop the fishing industry into international standards. The country has many undeveloped wharfs, including the Aberdeen, Kinjimi, Susan's Bay, Mowaf, Crabtongue, Tombow, among others, are ideal and need modern international standards for fishing business. This has made unemployment to be increasing. Both the private and the public sectors have not been able to develop and expand those wharfs. One major of them is the Tombow Wharf, which for decades has been the main source of income for the community, supplying the country with fish. Situated in the Western Area Rural District peninsula of Freetown, Tombow is well known for its resources in the production of huge quantities of variety of fishes, fresh and smoked, as well as other seafoods that benefits people both within and outside of the country. Most residents of this community have almost spent all their lives in fishing, which has made them to be able to support their children's education and support their families. The Tombow Wharf, like any other wharf in the country, is contributing immensely in the country's economy through fishing activities. But according to these residents, fishing has brought little or no development in this community. Pa Alimami Kanu, an old man who has spent his entire life in fishing, told SLBC that fishing has brought no benefit in his life. He added that at his age, he should have now been only enjoying his benefit and not working at the wharf. But he had to do it for his survival and called on the government for support. Chairlady of the Tombow community, Fatimata Saidu Sisi, said that as women, they only gain survival through the buying and selling of fish. She said that the presence of the Chinese people at the wharf is really affecting their businesses as they fish in their territory.
We thank the President for the free education, but the challenge we face here is that most of the parents earn money when there is a catch of fish to buy the other school material for their children.
People in the way fishing day, when school we manage to buy uniform books or bag shoes for children.
Some parents in this community really don't value education. Children that are supposed to be in school at this time are presently all over the world here at Tombow, helping their parents to do their work. But for them, they are still calling on the government to come to their aid and see that the free education that has been launched by President Bill is effective here in their community. Momo Kagbo, a stakeholder at the Tombow Wharf, explained that the Tombow Wharf is among the oldest wharfs in the country and should be considered an international wharf. He complained that when they land their catch of fish are hauled on the bare wharf that is full of debris, which is unhygienic, taking into consideration that most of the catch ends up on hotel tables and international fish markets. Chief Kagbo added that almost all fishermen around the country use Tombow as their main base to land their catch, making the wharf very busy at all times, but the wharf has no jetty.
We need help, and the help like this jetty, international jetty.
The help we need here is the construction of a jetty. People consider this wharf to be an international wharf, but the condition of this wharf is very discouraging compared to the neighboring country, Guinea.
Seeking the views of fishermen, they said that they were disappointed that the jetty, which is the first port of call in the business, should have been included in the ministry's priorities as they also contribute in the country's economy. However, they said this was not the case, noting that there is no proper standard landing sites to berth when they come from sea. As a way of improving on fish trade to match international standards, fishermen are looking forward to governments to urgently consider the construction of a standard jetty, including a cold room. This will further assist the residents of the Tombow community in doing business in a more conducive and hygienic environment that will fly high the green, white and blue flag. SLBC TV, Mariam Asuma reporting.
The Ahmadiyya Mission has started a one-week training course for editors of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation and other television stations in the country on how to use modern technology. Shira Refu filing this report.
The Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat has presence in over 200 countries. The first Ahmadiyya Muslim missionary arrived in Sierra Leone in 1937. The mission established its first primary school in 1938 at Rokupur and the first secondary school in 1960 in Bo. Welcoming the team, the acting director, human resource and head of television, Reverend Lucian Ganda, called on the editors to make good use as they will benefit a lot at the end of the training, and she also appreciates the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat for the training.
SLBC has been benefiting, but not only SLBC, Star and AYB have also been benefiting from the training. This time we have decided to call FTM because they too are part of the television stations in the country. What I want to say here is it's an opportunity that we all must make good use of. It is only a fool who will rebuke knowledge, but those who are wise will also want more knowledge to be added to their lives.
The National Coordinator Muslim Television Ahmadiyya Abdul Hayy Nasir said that now he wants to give thanks to the management of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, as they have always cooperated with the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat in the past and are still giving support to them, as the SLBC and the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat has signed a memorandum of understanding.
Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat and SLBC, they have MOU and other relations also from so many years, and Alhamdulillah SLBC always ready to support Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat in every aspect. They are always ready to help in every aspect. If we are requesting for anything, they are already, every time they were ready. So I want to thank you all, especially the management of SLBC, and especially I have to say thanks to some of your colleagues, I mean your employees, especially the Director General. I have to say thanks to him.
The former Vice-Chancellor of the University of Sierra Leone, Professor Kosonike Kosso-Thomas, who dubbed as a father of engineering education in Sierra Leone, has launched 2 novels and 1 biography written by Dr. Michael Wunda. The launching was done at the British Council Tower Hill. The books were launched by the Vice President, Dr. Mohamed Julde Jallow. Asmiba report.
Professor Kosonike Kosso-Thomas is one of the celebrated engineers of his time in Sierra Leone. Born in Freetown, this acclaimed scholar, playwright, novelist and poet was able to combine all these talents. Even as an octogenarian, his penchant for writing has not diminished. According to his biographer, Professor Kosonike Thomas has 63 works, which include books and academic journals under his name. His writings range from civil engineering to novels and poems. At this book launching, it was not only a gathering of engineers, but a mixed bag of professionals who wanted to be part of this celebration of the academic prowess of a Sierra Leonean son. The biographer had to peruse nearly all the works of the erudite scholar in order to go to work. Giving an overview of the biography of Professor Kosonike Kosso-Thomas, Dr. Michael Wunda said Professor Thomas introduced reforms at Furabe College during his days as Vice-Chancellor. He said it was a difficult task to write the biography of a man like Professor Kosonike Kosso-Thomas, as he is a man with high academic standing. Giving a shot on the illustrious writing career of Dr. Michael Nicholas Wunda, former advisor and policy researcher in the office of former President Nkrumah, Sharif Mahmoud Ismail, described Dr. Wunda as not only an author, but also an educationist and administrator of great standing. He said Dr. Wunda has 29 books of various genres to his name, who has written the biography of former Vice President Solomon Berewa and the erstwhile Chief Electoral Commissioner. Reviewing one of the books, The Dream, the writer Farouk Sisse said it is the first trilogy to be published by the prolific engineer, novelist, poet and artist. The story, according to Farouk Sisse, is about a young man whose mother's lofty dream about his future predates his birth and set the bar high for him against the background of a hostile home under the control of Desmond, a psychologically absentee father whose selfishness leaves no room for both son and mother to thrive, not to talk of attaining a dream. Launching the book, Vice President Dr. Mohamed Julde Jallow praised the author for his migration from engineering to arts. Vice President Julde Jallow described Professor Kosonike Kosso-Thomas as one of the finest minds of Sierra Leone, who has lived to see the country in its pre- and post-independence eras.
A professor who witnessed the flourishing, who was born in a flourishing capital, witnessed the progressive collapse of the state, is around to see the resurrection of that state.
As the public begins to read his biography, readers will pat the author on his back for rekindling the art of writing and making Sierra Leone begin to regain its heritage in the field of writing. For SLBC News, Asmiba.
The National Remembrance Day Planning Committee has decorated the Director General of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. These sets of personalities are in the continuum of some other key stakeholders to be recognized following the launch of the Poppy Week on the 22nd October 2018 by President Bio. So Ibasama report.
Last week, President Bio launched the National Remembrance Day. The planning committee since then has been decorating citizens in various ministries, departments and agencies. The latest one was done today, where a cross-section of the members of the Remembrance Day Planning Committee paid a courtesy call on the Director General of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, Joseph Igbenda Kapua, and adorned the Deji with the 2018 Poppy. The Planning Committee recognizes the role that the SLBC plays in this year's commemoration preparation for assigning some of the corporation's members to serve in one of the subcommittees. The Director General of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, Joseph Igbenda Kapua, registered his gratitude to the visiting members of the Poppy Day planning team.
We, as an institution, will continue to support your endeavors, will continue to support that group. Insofar as the work of this committee is an issue, we continue to support you. Whatever notices, like we discussed the other day, whatever activities you intend to have the SLBC cover for you, we are willing and ready.
He assured them of his institution's unconditional support till the end of the events, marking the armistice for this year. Earlier, the committee performed same on the coordinator of the Office of National Security, the Director General of the Sierra Leone Correctional Services, and Joint Force Commander of the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces. Soriba Samura, SLBC News, Freetown.
The Sierra Leone Chesterton Center has provided 3 million loans each to 65 households, which are headed by females in 7 artisanal mining chiefdoms in Kono District. The project is to empower the Girl Child School Support Project by the SLCC in Kono District. The distribution was held at the Kono District Council Hall, Koidu Town. Auna Patikrama reports.
It all started with Gilbert Keith Chesterton, who was in support of the empowerment of local people in their communities, which he coined as distributism. He came to know John Kanu, who was studying in Oxford in the year 2000. G.K. Chesterton is the patron and inspiration of the Sierra Leone Chesterton Center, said John Kanu during the launching ceremony. According to the country director of Sierra Leone Chesterton Center, John Kanu, they believe in social and economic transformation of the rural population through distributism. He said the decision to support the 65 family households in the 7 artisanal mining chiefdoms was born out of a baseline survey conducted by the SLCC in 2007, which indicated that 56.2% of the female population in Kono District has never attended school. Mr. Kanu said Kono District still has mining activities which continue to pose environmental threats, social inequalities, and poverty. The country director of the Sierra Leone Chesterton Center said his organization will continue to help poor families build their own capacities, maintain and sustain a healthy living through. He said to date, the SLCC has supported a total of 105 projects, including 35 farmer cooperatives in the last 8 years, mostly in 6 diamond-ferrous communities. Mr. Kanu observed that the Empowerment of Girl Child project represented a new development approach which focus on families rather than communities. The Assistant Director, Ministry of Education, Alpha Sise, and the Social Welfare Officer, Ministry of Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs in Kono District, Abubakar Kanu, commended the Chesterton Center for complementing government efforts towards the free quality education. They pointed out that the project was in line with government development strategy regarding access, retention and completion of basic education for the girl child. The chairman, Conference of Principals in Connaught District, Tamba David Lansana, said the SLCC has made them proud, calling on the locals to support the districts in the areas of agriculture, community development, and technical training for women farmers and other community organizations. Chairman Connaught District Council Solomon Sagbundo called on parents to utilize the financial support appropriately. He encouraged girls to focus on their studies as education is their dignity and pride. The wife of the paramount chief of Nimikoro Chiefdom, Masa Bona, thanked the SLCC for supporting their girl child in Connaught District. Maria Matoto, a Class 6 pupil and one of the beneficiary girls, and Madame Masiri, one of the parents, said the SLCC's support could not have come at a better time than now, given the difficulties families face to educate their children, especially the girl child. They said the support will take them a long way and promise to take full advantage of the support. Sierra Leone Chesterton Center was formed in 2002 in Oxford and registered in Sierra Leone in 2006 as a community-based organization to build capacity of poor families through distributism.
President Julius Maada Bio has vowed that his government will review laws relating to girl child abuses, which can make provision of any man convicted of rape to be imprisoned for life. He made this disclosure during his thank you tour of Bo and Kenema districts. President Bio said children and young girls must be free from sexual harassment and enjoy their adolescent age in a peaceful environment. Hawa Mosire has more.
By the powers vested in me as your Chancellor and Commander-in-Chief of the Republic of Sierra Leone, I have hereby inaugurate you all as members of the Jalai University Court for the period of 3 years, as enshrined in the Universities Act of 2005. I wish you all a successful tenure. Thank you all.
Before the thank you tour in Bo and Kenema district, President Julius Maada Bio inaugurated the Jalai University Court, the highest administrative authority at the institution premises at Jalamokundi. President Bio expressed profound gratitude to the authorities of the university and communities of Jalamokundi at Eyama. He stated that the event was a historic one because he wasn't only visiting to inaugurate the Jalai University Court, but he was also there to thank the people of Kori Chiefdom for their support and confidence to elect him president of the country. The president emphasized that Jalai University, like any other higher institution of learning, had special role in the realization of his government's flagship program and assured the university of his government's commitment to providing the necessary support to make education accessible to everyone without favor.
Mr. Pro-Chancellor, distinguished members of the court, as I stated in my address to Parliament on 3rd May 2018, education is an investment for human and economic development. It is a strong pillar for the nation's industries and also the foundation of moral regeneration and revival of its people. This is why my government has prioritized investment in the production of human capital through strategic policy reforms and the diversion of 21% of our GDP to support primary, secondary, technical, vocational, and higher education to provide the missing foundation for a prosperous Sierra Leone.
Vice Chancellor and Principal Professor Abdullahi Mansari thanked President Julius Maada Bio for inaugurating the university court at a time when the education system in the country was going through a major transformation. He applauded the president in creating a standalone Ministry of Technical and Higher Education and in appointing Professor Iyakpakima, a distinguished U.S.-trained scientist and biology professor. Professor Mansarino said that the university has been faced with a lot of challenges for far too long, but hoped that with the new direction, it will be a turnaround for Jalai University.
I'm also grateful to you, Your Excellency, for creating a ministry devoted exclusively to technical and higher education, and for identifying the highly competent and dynamic leadership of the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education. With true Greek academic administrators, researchers, and, of course, former academic union leaders at the helm of affairs, our higher education system is firmly posited on a rapid upward trajectory.
President Julius Maada Bio assured residents in Kenema and Bow district of his government's commitment to provide reliable electricity supply, pipe-borne water to the two cities. He made this assurance while addressing the people at the show field and coronation fields in Bow and Kenema as part of his thank you tour to the district for electing him as president. President Bio said his government has also provided ambulances as part of efforts to improve on the health system of the people. His government, he said, has introduced the free education scheme, which he hoped Sierra Leoneans would make use as a way of building the human capacity of the country. He informed the gathering that road infrastructure is also part of his government's priorities in the New Direction agenda, and also disclosed that his government will review laws relating to girl child abuses, which can make provision of any man convicted of rape to be in prison for life. In Kenema, President Bio elevated the status of the Eastern Polytechnic to university and launched a national ambulance service for the country. And electricity in the township, as well as 5-kilometer road construction in Kenema City and 5.6 for Bow City. In Bow City, President Bio visited the Bow Kenema Powerhouse Station to inspect the thermal plants that will be providing 16 megawatts electricity supply for Bow and Kenema district. SABC TV News are in Freetown. Hawa Mosiwe reporting.
The National Grand Coalition Party National Youth Wing has ended its first National Youth Retreat on the theme Changing the Political Narrative and Moving Forward with the Youth. The conference focuses on identifying the problems that affected the party during the past elections and mapping the way forward for its development. Esther Marie Samoa reports.
October 18th this year marked the first anniversary of the National Grand Coalition as a political party. Members of the National Youth Wing of NGC converged in Cambia District to discuss about the future of their party. The deputy youth leader, Ishmael Kalon, said during the elections, they found out that many youth felt betrayed. Some of the regional youth leaders and chairmen said many of their councillors and members of parliament have abandoned them and called on their representatives to embrace their people. They said the party awarded symbols to the wrong candidate and that led to division in the party. Delivering his keynote address, Global Youth Ambassador of the party, Mohamed Kouma, said the National Grand Coalition has the ability and manpower to transform the nation through concerted efforts by everyone, as he believes NGC is an inclusive party. He maintained that NGC will never fall and therefore called on the youth to be proactive in promoting the party's interest. Desmond Coker, Youth Wing Public Relations Officer, said the retreat was timely as they have unearthed the problems that affected their campaigns during the last general elections.
The outcome has been very much productive. We've gone through the retreat. We've heard all that we need to hear with regards moving the party forward and Sierra Leone at large. We've heard all the constraints, the complaints, the concerns of various delegates, and we've also learned that it's but fair that we take a look, a keen look, a retrospective look at what went wrong and see how we can correct them.
Chairman and leader of the party, Dr. Dennis Bright, appreciated the effort of the executive of the National Youth Wing for organizing a successful retreat and assured them that all their recommendations would be looked into. Esther Marie Samara, SLBC TV.
And now for sports, we join Esther Marie Samara.
Sad day for officials and players of Leicester City Football Club as the owner of Leicester City died when his helicopter crashed outside the stadium, the club has confirmed. Billionaire Vishai, who were 2 members of his staff, the pilot and a passenger, were killed when the aircraft spilled out of control and crashed in a fireball on Saturday. In a statement, Leicester City said the club's thoughts were with the family and the families of those on board at this time of unspeakable loss. And in a local news, the youth wing of the National Grand Coalition has ended a friendly football match among the regions in the country. This is in celebration of its first anniversary as a political party in the country. The final ended 3-0 in favor of Team Northeast Region at the Cambia District Resource Center playing field in Cambia District. Here is a report. The friendly football matches targeted Northeast, Southeast, Western Area and Cambia District football teams. The kickoff was taken by the party's chairman and leader, Dr. Dennis Bright. Western Area Combined defeated Cambia District's football team by a 1-0 in a controversial penalty awarded to them. The finals saw Northeast defeating Western Area by 3-0. Ishmael Kalon, deputy youth leader of NGC, said the friendly encounter was part of uniting the membership of the youth wing of the party.
To appreciate all people concerned and all the coordinating team or coordinating members of this particular activity, but it all ended because it's a youth activity and we have to do some youth practices.
Captain of Northeast, Francis Josiah, said they prepared well and were determined for the match.
No magic in that we know how to play the ball, and we told this guy that we're going to track them 6 goal, but 6 didn't come, 3 comes, that's fine. So it was all about professionalism.
The football match was attended by supporters and non-supporters of the NGC. Esther Marie Samoa, SLBC TV. That's all for our sports updates tonight. Over to you, Daphne.
Well, thanks to Esther Marie Samoa for that sports update. And to end the news, the main points again. Residents of Tombow community have called on government to construct a landing jetty for them. Confusion has erupted at the Queen Elizabeth II Quay following the appointment of a new operations manager. One-time Vice-Chancellor of the University of Sierra Leone, Professor Kosonike Koso Thomas, has released his latest books. And the Ahmadiyya mission has begun a 1-week training for VTR editors at the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation and other televisions. Well, that's all we have time for in this edition of News Hour. I am Daphne Kimama Koli.